Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Two subjects, but I think they're very much related to one another. And let's say the main topic would be how Russia survived the sanctions from the West and how the West shot itself in the feet repeatedly. So I have two articles. One from Russia Today and the other one from Business Insider. The one from Business Insider is titled, let me show you, Russia's top regulator tells Putin how companies outmaneuver Western sanctions. That is the first topic. And the second article from Russia Today, the European Union will soon collapse without Russian resources. I think that is accurate. In order to produce something, or in order to deal something, to make commerce, you have to give something. What are you going to do? Services? In order to create something, you have to produce it. You need energy. You need raw materials. So Russia has those. The European Union doesn't really have it. Okay? So that's the basic. That's the foundation of this equilibrium, let's put it this way, between the two powers, the two opposing variables. Let's start with the first article. This is from July 9th, 2025. Smirky, smirky, smirky. Russia is using gold and crypto to bypass Western sanctions. Netting, quote-unquote, is another offbeat way Russia is using to beat sweeping sanctions. Russia's economy faces challenges with a potential recession and slowing GDP growth, but is still growing compared with the European Union. Russia's top financial watchdog has offered a rare glimpse into how the country's businesses are sidestepping sweeping Western sanctions. Well, this is the way it is. You can sanction me and you can affect my economy only as long as you and I have a trade. You give me something, I give you something. If I make deals with the neighbor and you cannot influence the neighbor, that is, make that neighbor not to make deals with me, you're done. Your sanctions means nothing. But I give you oil and gas. I get some revenue. But it's a big world out there that needs that oil and gas. Remember, it's not that the European Union, let's start with this. It's not that the European Union is doing Russia a favor buying its resources. Think of it this way. It's the other way around. Without Russia's resources, the other guys will have no resources, will have no gas, will have no oil. Yeah, Norway gives some. United States now sells some overcharged premium liquefied natural gas. Yes, they try to get Algeria and others to give them and so on. But you can't compare with the Russian cheap oil and gas. So remember, the Russians can sit on the resources that the other guys need. And they will get it at a premium price. By paying how? Loans? What do you produce? Services? What kind of services? All right. Yuri Chikanchin, the head of Russia's Federal Service for Financial Monitoring, told Russian President Vladimir Putin on Tuesday that companies are turning to gold. We love gold. We and the Steins. Cryptocurrencies and creative accounting tricks, according to a Kremlin transcript. These approaches add to other unconventional tactics like barter trade that Russia is using to skirt sanctions. I give you a tomato, you give me a tank. All right, and I'm quoting, alternative payment mechanisms are being actively employed, including gold, cryptocurrencies, and more recently, netting arrangements, clearing operations which we are currently implementing. This guy's mention of netting arrangements referred to a workaround in which exporters and importers offset what they owe each other. Banks balance the export and import payments of different companies at a central location. This process minimizes the need to move money across borders, avoiding a key checkpoint for international sanctions enforcement. That means you can't touch me. Russia's shifting focus. So this guy, unusually public disclosure. You know why is this unusual public disclosure? Because it's probably meant to disinform. That's why their unusual public disclosure is for the baboons to believe that these guys are doing only that, or even they're doing it. Could be the reason. Do you think this is not talked? They say, oh my God, I'm going to publish this for the whole people to see how we actually screw you. Why would you do that? You screw yourself. So is circumventing sanctions come over 40 months after Moscow's full-scale invasion? It's not full-scale invasion, I will tell you why. Because a full-scale invasion means a general mobilization of about 30 million Russians and the use of nuclear weapons. Have you seen those flying yet? No. So it's not a full-scale invasion. Of Ukraine, you have seen any submarines, I don't know, attacking whomever? Yeah, only from the Black Sea with some caliber cruise missiles. Of Ukraine triggered an unprecedented wave of Western sanctions, despite 17 rounds of penalties from the European Union that doesn't produce shit. Once Russia's largest trading partner. Why? I give you oil, you give me money. The country's economy and some other things, I'm okay with that. The country's economy continues to hum along. All right? This guy said, I'm not going to read his chin, said Russia's cross-border payments are now flowing more through the Middle East, Southeast Asia, and Central Asia. That's a big world out there. This shift aligns with the development of a unified fast payment system that serves as an alternative to SWIFT. Made by the Westerners, they can kick you out, therefore they can blackmail you, primarily involving CIS countries. He added, referring to the Commonwealth of Independent States, a group of former Soviet republics. At the meetings, this guy also revealed that the share of the ruble, the currency, cryptocurrencies and gold in trade settlements has increased. Meanwhile, the share of payments in dollar, euro, and pounds has dropped significantly. So these guys are dead in the water. Sanctions are starting to bite, they say. Okay, they say they started to bite. Russia's GDP grew 1.4% in the first quarter of the year. From a year ago, according to Rosstat, the country's official statistics service. This is a sharp slowdown from the 4.5% growth it posted in the fourth quarter of last year. In 2024, Russia's economy grew 4.3% for the full year. All right, no concerns. The concern is that the guy is not a world champion anymore, is a second place world champion. All right, but the European Union is somewhere in the back, I don't know, 50th competitor. So let's go to the second article. Coming from Russia Today. European Union will soon collapse without Russian resources. I am in agreement with this guy. Bloc chief von der Leyen's push to phase out Russian energy will be fatal. Slovakia's Milan Uhrik has warned. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen is leading the EU down a path of self-destruction by attempting to sever energy ties with Russia. Slovak MEP Milan Uhrik had said. I totally agree with that, and I'm quoting, von der Leyen, you will destroy the European Union, and I am convinced that the European will soon collapse because you are doing everything to make it happen. Uhrik said in a speech at the European Parliament on Wednesday. All right, so what do you think, my friends? As I said, you need energy to survive. Even if you go back into caves or go to caves, you're going to need wood to make fire. Are you going to go, as Putin said, are you going to come to Siberia? Where are you going to get your wood from? From Poland? Yes, Poland still has some woods over there. Even Romania has some, but not even. Where are you going to get the wood from? Where are you going to get the gas? From whom? I mean, these questions these guys should have asked themselves before they shot themselves in the feet multiple times. But hey, I can tell you that there are some big profiteers in this war. Therefore, I still maintain that this war will not end soon. Unless, I don't know, something major will happen. And what could it be? Something as a catastrophe. Something monumental. I don't know, someone uses nuclear weapons. Something happens behind the scenes. Something like one economy, big economy collapses. But how can it collapse when you have the banks typing money, numbers for you? Or you use the printing machine to its maximum capacity. It goes overloaded or overheated. All right, my friends, I think that the Russians planned this long before the Europeans thought about sanctioning. I don't think the Europeans thought yesterday only about sanctioning Russia, but the problem is that's an imbalance. I think it's an imbalance the same as the Chinese and the Americans. Unfortunately for us, the Chinese produce necessary things for everyday life, and we give them back in exchange things that they can take a shed on, a Chinese shed on, as small as it could be, but it's still a shed. Okay? They give us pharmaceuticals, antibiotics, and many other things. We give them certain things as well, but I think it's going to be a disaster. And I think it's based on a culture of entitlement and a culture of, or a new society of spoiled brats that immediately, the second they don't have air conditioning or the Coca-Cola or the chips or the snack, they will all cry like babies. So what are you going to do? The other guys will say, okay, like in the old days, they're going to start making all kind of songs, like the old days. They're going to make all that, like it's going to be, for them, it's going to be like a cultural revival, man. It's going to be the new Chinese hippie, liberation from the consumerism or consumption, Western, whatever, man, consumerism. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Unfortunately, we are at the receiving end. We are at and I'm not talking about you and I. I'm doing just fine. Okay, just so you know. Other people are having tragedies, catastrophe. They don't care. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.